Do you know what a focus statement is? It's a tool that we use in journalism all the time. And even though it's incredibly basic, it's also really, really useful. It helps you zero in on whatever you're doing your story about and figure out if there actually is a story there. The most simple version of a focus statement goes along the lines of something like, somebody does something for a reason. As an example, let's take a look at some of the stories that we covered this week. On Monday, we looked at a number of Mexican provinces that were being rocked by cartel attacks, and a focus statement for that could be something along the lines of Canadian Airlines, the someone in this case, cancel flights to Mexico. That's them doing something because drug cartels are lighting businesses and vehicles on fire. That's the reason. Now, in that version, that's very focused on the airlines, but you could do a different type of focus statement, one that's more focused on the tourists. For example, Canadian travelers are trapped in Mexico. That's someone doing something after airlines cancel their flights due to cartel attacks. That's the reason. Now, both of these stories put Canadians and Canadian companies at the center, but you could do one that focused on the cartels, for example. You could do something like cartel members attack civic infrastructure in Mexico in retaliation for their leader being captured and killed. You could also do a focus statement that focuses on citizens, something like Mexican citizens shelter in place following cartel attacks in several major cities. The who in a focus statement really matters here because it informs who the journalist puts at the center of the story, and we can see why that makes a difference depending on who we put there. That decision about the who, as well as all the other elements, are informed by a lot of different things, including sometimes bias. Although I should mention here that bias isn't necessarily just sort of a boogeyman. I mean, we all have it, we all make decisions on it, and we have to make those decisions. That's how stories get made. But as a newsreader, it's really useful to be aware of those different pivot points and knowing how bias plays a role in them. And that's what we're trying to do here at Media LLit. Give you information, but also arm you better so that you can be a better newsreader. Now, along with our Mexico coverage this week, we also made a number of other shorts, mostly looking at the media. We made one looking at how media outlets use anonymous sources and how that plays a role in drumming up support for war. We also looked at how different outlets are covering the State of the Union, and we looked at how having limited information and access to places like Iran can really handicap us as newsreaders' ability to understand what going to war would even mean. If you haven't seen those videos yet, you should check them out. And we'll have more for you coming on Monday.